December 15th, 2019, the last day of RLCS 8 in Madrid, Spain. That is the last time that we have seen a live competition for Rocket League esports, and unfortunately, we're going to have to wait even longer. What's up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. And unfortunately, kind of a somber note here. It was recently announced that there will be no World Championship this year for a live event. No international competition, no esports bubble, no audience, no nothing. Unfortunately, it will be yet another regional event, just with a bigger prize pool in a different format. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about what exactly the post is, what's actually happening, what to expect, I guess, as well as a lot of the reactions, the general response of the public, as well as the pros, and how this could have a long-term effect on Rocket League esports. Before I get into that, a little bit of history of the situation. For those that do not know, RLCS Season 9 was supposed to be in Dallas. It was going to be a really good time, a lot of really good competition, and unfortunately, obviously, due to the pandemic, they had to postpone it, and the esports team reacts pretty quickly and puts out what is called the Rocket League Spring Series. Spring Series was basically a grand regional event where the teams would compete for a ton of money. It was supposed to be kind of the makeup as a placeholder or a band-aid on a boo-boo that was the pandemic, to give us some sort of grand event because we couldn't do international competition. The last day of the spring series was on April 29th of 2020. The reason why that date I think is so important is because immediately after that, they've done essentially two things for the Rocket League esports scene. First thing is they introduced a bunch of community events. About $300,000 worth of community events was implemented. I ran one called the Brawl 10K. There was many others. That was kind of the first initiative of Rocket League esports. It's the off season. Let's give a bunch of money to the community and see what they come up with for the best types of events. They all had their different styles and customizations on the broadcast, different features. There's a bunch of different regions. APL got to do stuff for the Middle East and the Asian regions. And everybody was like, okay, you know, we have no Tokyo event. There's no Olympics in Japan, which many of us thought was going to kind of kick off with free to play and possibly bring in new regions into the RLCS. That gets put on the back burner because of the pandemic. The second side of it is they introduced now RLCS X, the 10th season, a new circuit-based format, a $4.5 million prize pool, 22 events over the course of the year. And we're like, yes, Rocket League is going to become a tier 1 esport. We finally have a foundation and a format that can lead us to the next level. It definitely needs refinement. Some of these formats aren't ideal. It's a lot of different matches. And I'm curious if people would be still saying that is if every major was international competition. If every major was a live event with a big production that you could attend and cheer for your teams for, to break up the mundane that has been going on. Instead, what we get right now is you get roughly 2 to 3 months, sometimes way less if you're the spring split, 39 days, of a ton of Rocket League all pumped into a certain period of time. And at the end of that, you get a major, which isn't a major with international competition. It's another regional event with the exact same teams playing again. And I think that's where everybody becomes frustrated, is because after what has been essentially 14 months to plan for a live event, despite the pandemic and everything else, but you've seen other esports developers like Call of Duty, Riot with Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, etc., even PUBG, where they took their players and brought them to South Korea for an extended period of time, and were able to still persist. You still get live events, you still get international competition. No, it's not the big event that we were hoping for, but it is players in a hotel room for an extended period of time, playing with their teammates under safety restrictions, and are able to give us international competition. Unfortunately, Rocket League will not be one of those. And in 14 months, with saving money on no live events, no dream hacks, no nothing, you would think that maybe something else would happen. That is not the case. You can see it from all the tweets of the players. You can see it from the community. You can see it on the subreddit where people are literally making a post called, I don't think I'm going to watch the rest of the season. And being completely honest, I don't necessarily blame them. It has been what is coming to be 9 months of the same thing. Even though the formats have changed and we've gotten different results because of it being Rocket League, the whole any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody thing. And it's the best competition has ever been. We've got more Rocket League than we could ever want. But at the end of the day, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And it doesn't really leave you with a really good feeling. Psyonix has made their solution to pack full a 6-day event with more of the same. Yes, the format's a little bit different. And yes, the style with a best of set is a little bit different. We're talking over 100 plus games over the course of the event. How many series and etc. I'd have to look, but it's a ton of Rocket League. And when people are already kind of burnt out from watching the same old, I don't think people care if you put a $400,000 prize pool attached to it and give a fancy title. At the end of the day, it just feels like another online event. So unless they've got some pretty crazy theatrical stuff, some really exciting B-roll content or unique content to provide to the space, it's going to feel like more of the same. And it's really, really unfortunate. You've got pros tweeting out, and you can see them, I'm sure. Shout outs to the editor who's doing B-roll for this. But you can see probably from the tweets next to me and stuff of all the pros' reactions on how I don't feel motivated. This feels like a waste. This isn't like, it just feels really, really poor. So let's talk about the specifics. Let's talk about what's actually happening, how this is going on. So the World Championship was supposed to take 6 teams from NA, 6 teams from EU, 2 from OCE, 2 from SAM. That is still happening, but again, it's going to be a regional event within yourself. North America is going to play for $400,000. Europe is going to play for $400,000, and OCE and SAM are going to play for $100,000. This will happen on June 15th and go over the course of 6 days until June 20th. And the way they're going to do this is they're going to split it up over multiple days, eventually Sunday being the grand finals as expected. And you're also getting the European and the North American grand finals on the same day. What's different is the format. They're doing for North America and Europe, because there's 6 teams, the page playoff system. If you guys didn't hear me talk about that, go check out the video I just put out in regards to the grid and the final playoffs. It's the exact same format that they did for regionals back in the day to see who would qualify for World Championships and like season 6, 7, 8, etc. The teams that are higher seeds, so over the course of the circuit system, if you're 1 or 2 overall, you get an automatic bid to the top 4, and it goes on from there. Teams get extra lives, all that kind of stuff. Not going to explain more formats to you. Stuff kind of been broken like a dead horse. But you're taking those and the individual matches. So when the 5th seed plays the 6th seed, they're playing in a set. So they'll play a best of 5, and they'll play 3 best of 5s, depending on who takes 2 first. Then when you get further on in the bracket, they'll play a set of best of 7s. So they'll play 3 best of 7s, depending on who gets 2 best of 7 wins first. And I don't know if that's going to be a continuation. I don't know if it's going to be a break. I don't know if they're going to take 3 best of 5s and whoever gets 8 wins first, or if they're going to individualize them and be like, yo, first best of 5, you won 3-1. Second one is 3-2. Third one is like, I don't know how they're going to do that, or if it's going to be a continuation, or they're going to individualize each game or each series per set. And hopefully that isn't confusing. We have a set, which is 3 either best of 5s or 3 best of 7s, and you play those as an individual. Hopefully that makes sense. You're playing 3 best of 5s or 3 best of 7s, and whoever wins more best of series first ends up progressing. And that just feels like a whole lot of Rocket League. I think people are already burnt out, and people are already just kind of annoyed with it. And just throwing a bunch of more Rocket League is going to be frustrating. You even see people in OCE talking about how that's like a 7-week break where these people are just going to have to play free play until they get something out of it. And who the heck knows what's going to come from those 2 teams? Who knows what's going to happen afterwards? Who knows what the rosters are going to be at those times, because there's so much time in off season and everything else. All these other teams now, if you're not in those top 2 in OCE and SAM, are going to disband, try to make, break, whatever it is, because they know for next season, it's another long grind and a long haul of the same roster with only 1 roster change due to the roster rule and the trade windows. So it almost can possibly put them at a disadvantage. So those are the dates, those are the prize pools, those are the formats, and ultimately, I guess I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. I go back and forth on it. It sucks. I don't think there's much we can do about it. I think Rocket League suffers from the fact that we have a very young player base, and that is something that is not going to change for a long time, if it's going to change. I've talked about this in the past. The fact that our pros can be 15 really holds us back sometimes. The fact that there is not vaccinations available for kids 16 and younger at times, I think is a detriment and makes it more difficult. If we were to do a World Championship international competition in a bubble, you have to have kids that are below 18 with a parental guardian or a parental figure, and that can be coaches and stuff as well if the parents sign off on it. Not every parent's going to be okay with that. You've got to quarantine for at least 2 weeks. You have to make sure that certain conditions are met, legalities, and all the other stuff, and you have to put those people in a hotel, expenses and otherwise, you know, with 14 months and no lands and stuff. Obviously, I think Epic and Psyonix are plenty fine with that, but the cost and the precautions and everything else you have to take, and then you also have to add in all those other things with the younger kids and bringing people over for an extended period. It creates a headache. And I understand why Psyonix, Epic Games, Rocket League is not doing international competition for a world championship. I do understand. Do I like it? No, I really don't. Am I satisfied? Definitely not. Am I kind of demotivated when it comes to covering the content and watching it on a week-to-week basis? Yeah, you bet. But is it the right decision? Yeah, I think it is. And it sucks to say. It sucks that this pandemic continues to take things away from us. But I think long-term, trying to be positive, it's going to make us appreciate stuff a heck of a lot more. If you do not go to Season 11 World Championship or whatever the next live event is, you're severely going to be missing out. I think people are craving it. People want it. And the fact that this is the result is why people are so frustrated. I can't imagine how the pros feel after grinding like crazy to have no celebration for it. Really, really must suck. So this is me asking for you, the community, as well as any organizations that are possibly doing something for this. If you are an org in Rocket League, if you are a org owner, if you are a manager, whatever it is, I really hope you do some really fun stuff for your team. I hope as soon as this stuff is over, that someone can coordinate or create something in its stead so we get these players and everything else, whether it be a gold rush activity, whatever it is. Hell, if I need to hold it in my backyard, I'll do it. Honestly, this is me putting it out publicly. If there is any org owners, orgs in general that would like to find a way to coordinate an event, hit me up. Let's make something happen. I would love to do that as soon as we can. But this has been your Rocket League news for the day. I don't really know how to sign this out. It's just a tough pill to swallow, and it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it, which has kind of been COVID summarized in a nutshell. So questions, comments, ideas, any thoughts that you guys have on it, down below in the comments. While you're down there, links to everything I'm talking about, blog posts, trailers, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you next time. Peace.